Hey, welcome or welcome back to Babeinlibrary. It's your girl Lisa, and it's time for my February wrap up. Now, in February, I was blasting through books. I'm going to review 18 books. 9 of those books were in previous videos, so I'm just going to do a quick synopsis of those. And then the other 9 are something I'm going to go into full depth in this video. Now, of those 18, to be fair, 4 of them were DNFs, which one of them is the reason why I'm in a book slump now, but the show must go on. Looking at my sticky notes, I will also tell you the amount of stars. So I've got 2 books that are 5 stars, 5 books that are 4.5, 2 4 stars, 2 3.5 stars, 1 3 star, and 2 2 stars. So pretty much ran the gambit. I would say anything, well, almost anything that was a DNF was a 1 star with the exception of 1 book. So first, I'll go through and discuss the books that were already in a previous video of mine. So first video I would say is my Supreme Teen recommendations video. So I read this month You Should See Me in a Crown by Leah Johnson. That is a sapphic romance that I gave 3.5 stars. A lot of people had loved You Should See Me in a Crown. I figured I'd give it a chance. Looking back at it, I don't think that there was anything that wowed me, but it was definitely a solid read, definitely for the intended audience of young adults, and has a lot of really good representation that I think a lot of young people need to see themselves, and I would recommend it to a youth. That same video, I had definitely one of my newest 5 stars would be Love Radio. I absolutely adored this, as again, you can see by my tabs. This is the romance between Prince and Danny. I think that anyone will love this. Young, old, you name it, there is something for everyone. And this is a part of the Sweeney Awards, so I am hopeful that this wins for young adult contemporary or young adult romance, because I ate this up like popcorn. After this, it kind of inspired me to go back and go skating. This has some of my favorite dates. You've got Prince taking her out for skating, taking her out to a bookshop. I fell in love, and I think anyone that reads this will too. If you want my further in-depth thoughts, please go ahead and check out that Teen Supreme video, but 5 stars, loved it. In addition, I participated in Novellathon, so I will leave my vlog for that in the description below. But in there, I read a number of books. So out of that, I read 2 physicals and a number of other audiobooks. Novellathon really helped me crank out a lot of new authors. Unfortunately, in my physicals, these 2, the 2 that I own, were the two stars that I had this month. So I was glad to be able to pick up Gillian Graves. I got a copy of this from the author. It has everything that I typically would love: vampires, witches, romance, steamy times. However, something just didn't hit the mark for me. Secondly, I read in that vlog Pink Slip. This is a polyamorous spy romance, and the longer I read this, the longer it gave me chances to poke holes in it. So again, these are the 2 that I have physicals that were both 2 stars, but I recommend picking up more for Gillian Graves and Katrina Jackson. I've heard great things about like some of their longer novels, so look into the authors yourself, see if there's something that you'd want to pick up. I may or may not continue with those. Now, in terms of books that I read within Novellathon that I loved, Muscles and Monsters, this was a part of my 12 for 12, gave it 4.5 stars. Again, by Queen J.L. Seegers, gave that 4.5 as well. Fucking Fall in Love by Nicole Falls, that was a 5-star read for me. I read Coming Home by Kennedy Ryan, still on my Kennedy Ryan train, so I'm gonna eat up as much of her backlist as I can throughout this year. I will say, when it comes to novellas, please keep in mind, specifically Kennedy Ryan's Coming Home, if you are going in with a thought of getting a fully fleshed romance or hard-hitting story that you're used to seeing from Kennedy Ryan, this is not going to be that. And I think that's where I had to set my expectations. Normally in novellas, I understand it's going to be quick, it's not going to be as in-depth, and it's not going to be where I get the full blast of the author's talent. I just came in with too high of expectations for this one, but again, thinking about or discussing novellas that I read outside of the novellathons, because I still was in my bag and I still was ready to like get through some quick reads. So I wound up reading The Perfect Play by C.S. Carr. That was probably the one that I read directly after reading Coming Home, and I gave that 4 stars. The Perfect Play was well played. I'm going to tell you, it was witty. It was a best friend's little sister married in Vegas trope. And again, coming in with the right expectations, knowing that you're not going to get a lot of depth, you're going to get a good time. That led me to that 4-star read. I can't tell you a whole bunch about it because it was just mindless listening and enjoyment for me. They got married, woke up, and then he was already filling his my wife bag, right? And it is a sports romance. Let me go ahead and say that. So when you've got journalists coming after her to say, hey, why did you choose this librarian and who is she? He stuck up with her. He was like, you're not going to talk about my wife. And if there's nothing I love more, it's a man that sticks up for his woman. And back to my 4.5 star, I read Not the Plan by Gia de Cadet. This is the second arc I received. I received her first one, which it is escaping me. I'll put it up on the screen here. Gia de Cadet is a author that is kind of flying under the radar, and I want to make sure that you all know this has like deeper topics. I really do love this particular storyline because I get to experience Karim and Isadora. So this is a political romance, which I have now qualified as one of my favorite tropes. Political romance, even though I'm not really big into the politics scenes, I love seeing it play out and have that romantic element. So you get to meet Karim, who is just starting. He's gotten a new job. He's moving to San Francisco to be a interim or campaign support for a senator, right? The senator that he works for is vile, but Karim doesn't know that. So on the plane, he meets Isadora. Isadora is afraid of flying, and it is that like, you know, spill your guts out to the person that's next to you and get to, you know, have that spark of energy, never knowing whether or not you're going to see them again. Lo and behold, Isadora is a part of, like, she's the campaign manager or campaign advisor for a senator that kind of is opposed to Karim's senator, right? So while they may still be, they work together, they're on two opposite ends. This is a Romeo and Juliet, the Capulets and the Montagues kind of rivalry. So it is a political romance that has rivals to lovers, but not really, because again, Karim is always going to be on Isadora's side. Whether she knows it or not, he's fighting for her, and I love to see it. This was perfection to me. You get to see Karim is a soft character. He has experienced an abusive relationship with his ex-wife. In the process of the story, they are going through a divorce, so they are separated, and getting to see his character and fully fleshed out and developed in Not the Plan was perfect for me. So I will tell you, you don't need to read the first book in order to read the second book, but I loved this one, I think, even more. Thinking about two books that I will mention that 5-star reads for me, right? So I've been saying I've had a really good month, but 5-star reads, Worth It by Lady Marie. I read this for one of my book clubs in February. This was a story. First of all, let's get into this cover. Absolutely beautiful. Like, this is Michaela, and she is a boss babe. Let me tell you, Michaela is someone that I fully resonate with, and that could be good or bad depending on how you look at it. Like, I was reading this book and I was like, damn, I really need to get my life together, because if I act like Michaela did and I find my Reggie and I try to play him to the left, baby, the fate ain't in my cards, because he may walk away from me and I may lose that opportunity. But luckily, Reggie knew what he wanted, and he stuck around and gave her all of the energy, all of the love, all of the affection that I can only hope and dream for. But before I get into that, this is a fake dating relationship during a wedding season. So Michaela is constantly being set up by her family, right? Her mama and her two sisters are meddling and messy. They always set her up on fake dates. And Michaela is not interested. She is simply wanting to pursue her career. She wants people to understand, hey, I've got a vision and a goal, and I can't let anything deter me from that. But her family believes that the only true way in happiness in life is to be in a relationship. And so they constantly try to set her up because they do ultimately want the best for her. Although I'm going to tell you, this has so much family drama that is like, I had to take a break from this book. Like, I was getting so frustrated and so angry, because I could see myself with Michaela, but also because one of her family members had me messed up. They had me and Michaela messed up, and I was ready to fight. Like, I jumped into the DMs of the author, and I was like, hey sis, oh girl, I don't really care for her. She was like, it's cool. Most people don't like her. You're fine. It'll get better. And I'm like, when? Because I can't take it. So I had to step away from this and come back to get a better appreciation. And when I did, let me tell you, blown away. Reggie, who is the main male character, the love interest, he is top tier book boyfriends. Reggie, I was like, sir, if Michaela does not want you, come over here, because he is sweet, charming, he's gifted. I love him. You are going to, similar to Prince in terms of Prince had a lot of amazing, really cute dates. Grown man Reggie said, I'm gonna go skating with you, whatever you need. If your family is giving you the business, I'm gonna make sure, hey, not my woman, not on my time. I'm telling you, this is the one. Pick it up. Amazing read. Another book that, while that I love for like the romance, this had a romance that broke me. Like, the entire story, 5 stars, but damn it if it wasn't a rough 5 stars. Like, tears, boo-hooing, crying, and that is The Prophets by Robert Jones Jr. This is historical fiction. This is a romance of 2 enslaved men that love each other without bounds, without reasons, and the people around them can't understand that. And more importantly than that, there is a force, obviously, by the slave owners who really put them in jeopardy, right? Like, this is one of those situations where, and again, as you can see, I had an experience of emotions. Red, you already know what that means. I'm angry, I'm hot, somebody's getting me frustrated. Blue is I'm sad, I feel some sort of pain, and then yellow for me was I understand, I recognize the wording may have been amazing and beautiful to me. But less about my tabbing, more about the book. This was not only a really great crafted story, it was beautifully executed in the way in which this isn't a dual perspective. This is every single life touched that revolved around these 2 main characters. So anyone that had any sort of interaction with Samuel or Isaiah, they told the story from their point of view. Every single person that had an opinion, that interacted with them, that touched their lives, they told the story from their perspective, and it was well-rounded, so you can see the impact that these 2 characters had on that entire community. This is a work of art, and I encourage anyone that wants to experience history and to really put themselves in the position of what it was like to live during enslaved times and how that every decision impacted someone else and the ripple effect, but wants to also see not only the turmoil and the hardship, but wants to see the love and the care and the community. Pick this up. Everyone talks about a lot of other historical pieces, but I'm not seeing enough people talk about this, and it was fabulous. Continuing on, I know I should have mentioned this earlier. While I read Fucking Fall in Love by Nicole Falls, I then also followed up with Fuck Around and Find Out, which is the best name ever. I read that it is another novella. It follows that the previous main character's best friend, so Ebony Floyd, her love interest. So what gets me is ebb and flow. Like, come on, Nicole, like, you are hitting the spot. This is a reverse age gap. I hate saying reverse age gap because it's still age gap. Well, female main character Ebony is 10 years older than Floyd. It is Ebony's little brother's best friend, and it is their romance. Ebony is a single mother. She is just looking for a good time, whereas Floyd has been in love with her and pining after her, comes into town, and Ebony tells her little brother that she will show Floyd around, get him acclimated to the city in DC, and it is their love story told in seasons, right? So every quarter you get a new engagement, a new development in their relationship, and it was just perfect. You could see that this was really age ain't nothing but a number placed into a book format. Funny, cute, fun, good time. I gave that a 4.5. And then let's talk about some of the DNFs I had. Because one of the most controversial ones would probably be Secretly Yours by Tessa Bailey. It's the newest in her series. Now, technically, I did not read this month. I received a traveling art copy. Unfortunately, this felt very childish to me. So this is a situation in which the female main character is in a small town, which is, again, I think one of Tessa Bailey's, staple pieces of her literature is small town romance. The male main character comes back in town. He is a writer, has this broody personality, and she becomes, essentially what I'll say is, to me, I stopped reading because it was very childish. Like, the entire, secret letter, playing pranks and playing tricks. I don't need that. So I probably won't be picking that back up. I'll wait to see what Tessa sends out next after the series, or I'll go back into her backlog. But Secretly Yours wasn't for me. I also DNF'd Wahala by Nikki May. I have been seeing this around. I've heard mixed reviews, and I'm here to tell you, I am one of those people who absolutely detested this book simply because I could not get with the colorism, the elitism. Like, I understand, I am not Nigerian, so I can't relate to the experience and how those dynamics play. But for me, as a African American or a Black reader, I'm not interested in comparing who's the lightest and not dating someone based on them being Nigerian, right? Or whatever the case may be. It just rubbed me completely the wrong way. It is a story about 3 friends who are going through their natural, phases of life. One friend has another childhood friend that comes back into the picture and tries to meld and mold with their dynamics, and ultimately someone is unalived. It wasn't for me. Another book that I DNF was Naima Simone, who, as you all can see, I am a Naima Simone fan. Last month, I read 2 of her books, loved them, gave them both 4 stars. I wanted to read her Bargain with the Beast, which is a Beauty and the Beast retelling. I believe it is a situation in which the main character has been in love with her childhood friend for years, but she actually was engaged to his brother, who was also her friend. The brother is now deceased. He is a billionaire that it's disfigured, right? So he is in this space where he used to be gorgeous. Everyone used to fall at their feet. But now, since this accident that killed his father and his brother, Now he's disfigured. Everyone is kind of shying away from him, and he's kind of withdrawn in himself. And he says, hey, I will make a deal with you. You give me a week of your time and allow me to have relations with you in any way I see fit, and I'll give you the money for your charity. Now, that sounds like an interesting premise. However, the way in which he, and again, maybe this is the beast part, but like the way in which he like approaches her, and to me somewhat like debases her to the point of just it being an engagement of her body. And what I did not like is that like there was a joke made about roots. I don't play when it comes to like the joking of runaway slaves. Like that's not something I need to be reading in a book. So that was a DNF for me. We'll be picking up more from Naima Simone. However, if I do see something like this again, I'm going to just leave it where I was in the happy space of the burned ink. And maybe that's the only series for me. But I can't make that call right now. I've only read 3 of her books. And the last DNF, which burns my heart to say, because this came from an author who wrote one of my favorite books of 2022. That is going to be One Pucked Up Pack by Sarah Blue. Now, I'm going to tell you this is a me issue and not a Sarah issue. So don't take this no way, no how. If I would have rated this, it probably would have been a 3-star, very middle of the road. I'm starting to realize she had put too many things into one book, and I was like, this sounds good, but in reality, it was doing a lot. This is a reverse harem, Omega-verse, hockey sports romance, small town, you name it, throw it in the book. Now, I really enjoy sports romance, specifically hockey romance. I really enjoy reverse harem. I'm iffy on the Omega-verse. Charlotte, who is the Omega, drove me up a wall, like fingernails gone, because I am trying to get away from her. I can't tell if it was her as her personality or her as an Omega. Now, again, some of the things about the Omega tropes, right? The idea of being needy and wanting everyone to be obsessed with you and having the need to be like comforted, that drove me insane. And maybe that is I think that is typical of an Omega. It's just, I like boss babes. I like independent babes. I love women who were secure, and Charlotte was not giving me that. And that's what I needed. I need in my reverse harem, I need someone to know you get down and lay down. Or I need in my reverse harem to know that I want you, I don't need you. And this wasn't giving me that energy. And again, I think it's because that is how Omegas are written to be. So I'm going to just put this one to, it was a me issue and not a Sarah issue, because I think if you typically love Omegaverse and you love all of these other tropes, this will work for you. That concludes all of the books that I read. I know I've been talking for a very long time. I'm going to try to wrap this up. If you all could do me a favor and leave me a black heart or a smiling emoji for worth it, because I absolutely loved and adored Reggie in this book. Let me know what was your favorite read of February, and I'll talk to you all next time. Bye.